Hi, you've reached the Caldwells. Please leave a message and we will get back with you just as soon as
Welcome to the RV Work-Life Balance Podcast with your traveling nomadic hosts, Sherry and Russ Caldwell.
Hey, that's us. We're living the dream, working from home, baby.
No matter where home is.
And you can too.
How is it possible that I'm back here again? We record this every week.
Woo!
This is so much work. I don't know why you make me do all this work. Anyways, I'll still say cheers. Ho, 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 ho.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. We really appreciate you coming back. And I want to start with something. We're getting some feedback from the podcast. It's
we
awesome.
love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the feedback. So the comments and the feedback has been really appreciated. Thank you so much for that. Keep it coming because it gives us ideas on what works, what doesn't, what you're trying to solve or understand. We'll use it in our upcoming podcast.
What's funny? What's not?
What's not? Yeah. All right. So it's interesting because what's cool about what we do is we get to travel so much, and it's amazing. It didn't hit me till like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, we get to say the same thing every week, which is like, where are we today?
And it's always different.
It's always different. It's so cool. So where are we today?
Today, we are at the Grand Ecore.
Is that how you say it?
Ecore?
Ecore.
Ecore.
It's like éclair,
It's French
right?
for bluff. The bluff.
Éclair.
Anyway. So we're at the Grand Ecore COE campground in Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is actually spelled Natchitoches.
Which is more fun to say it that way.
But it's Natchitoches. That's what the little visitor's guide says. Natchitoches.
And COE is Corps of Engineers, which is really cool. We like those.
Yes. So we're here in Louisiana this week, but our hearts are still in Mississippi.
Oh, why is that?
Because.
Well, because I think we might have mentioned this. We got to see our oldest son, who happened to be doing some training in Gulfport, Mississippi. He's in the Navy. We really appreciate everyone in the military. Thank you. But he is making a transfer from his current location in Hawaii to the cool island of Guam.
Back to Guam, baby.
Yeah. So, but he had to come here to Mississippi, or where we were in Mississippi, to do some training because he's got a new role. What's that?
He's got a new job or unit in the EOD, which I was like, oh, is that in the education department?
It's got the right letters.
No, it's the Explosive Ordinance Disposal Unit.
They blow stuff up.
Oh, super. Like Hurt Locker, the movie.
It is.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, yeah, I'm an IT mom. I'll be okay. IT and communications. And then, so he came to Gulfport, Mississippi for this training. And its acronym is ECS. Okay, what's that? Well, that's Expeditionary Combat Skills, which is very physical, hardcore training outdoors in the heat with the guns and Humvees turning upside down. And, my heart is going.
Yeah, our son's is in communications and IT, and when he said he was doing the EOD stuff, the explosive ordnance stuff, and disposal, I was like, if you're in IT and you're doing this explosive ordnance, it reminds me of the Office Space movie. I imagine him going out and smashing up a printer. That's his job in IT, is to take care of that. But no, he's doing the real things. He's actually with the whole team that does that, because they all have to be trained in those same skills. So it's really interesting. Yeah.
We met a Navy guy in Blaine, Washington, when we were up at home. They were next door to us, and we were talking about our son and this new assignment. And and he's like, does your kid work out? And I'm like, well, yeah, he does okay. He's like, those guys are hardcore. And I'm like, he's in IT and communications. He'll be okay. And he's like, the whole team goes down.
Yeah.
Like, great. Okay. All right. We are super proud of our kid.
Yeah.
And all of our military men and women. It's going to make me cry.
And he's really good at that, though. He really enjoys it, and he's good at it.
He is.
And he's enjoying it. So it was great. We got to spend time with him there, and that was super special because when he's been, overseas, whether it was in Guam or other places,
10 years.
It's hard to go see him.
Yeah.
But, hey, you're going to be in Mississippi. Our house moves. Let's go see you.
So we got to spend 2 weeks in coastal Mississippi so that we could be there and hang out whenever he had time.
And we dodged the hurricanes because that's hard to do sometimes.
In September,
Yeah.
It's the most active month.
Yeah. So, and there was actually
no hurricanes.
What was I can't remember the name of the big storm, but there was a big one that was coming by. It was a Category 5, and it turned at the last second before it went north. We don't
You're
have
putting me on the spot.
I know. But it doesn't matter. But it was that one we thought might be headed our way. And we got lucky. It made a turn, went north, and didn't cause any problems. That was great.
Not too much, yeah.
Yeah. We don't usually have that luck is all I meant. So, but it has been hot.
It was very hot, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to complain about that, It's
Except for our kid who was out in the field.
That's right. My air conditioning was great, so I didn't notice that much.
Oh.
But we had the same problem.
We mentioned this last time.
Yeah, the stupid ants. Ugh.
It was Battle of the Ants the entire time.
Yeah.
And then when we got here, too, to Louisiana.
Yeah, I remember pulling away from there going, woohoo, no more ants. We rolled in here to Louisiana. There's as many ants here, if not more.
I mean, I got out to help him
back the rig up.
And I got bit.
You stepped in a red ant pile.
In a red ant pile.
Yeah, I got bit instantly. I'm like, okay, this is a bad start.
There's ants here.
So
honey.
luckily we carry
Anyway.
all the stuff to get rid of them, and we took care of those. But boy, we are outnumbered here in a big way.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's all good. That was just a great experience. I was super excited that we got to do that, and that's one of the benefits of what we get to do. And I loved it.
2 weeks we got.
It's incredible.
To be with
I mean, if we didn't do this and we would fly down to see him, we wouldn't be able to spend 2 weeks, and it would be very much different experience.
Not like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we lived there together.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
So anyways, all right. So I'll keep it moving. What is the topic for today?
Well, in view of spending this amazing 2 weeks with our kid, today we're answering another frequently asked question: is how to find the fun while getting the job done. And we've got the top 5 tips, suggestions for how you go to a new place that you may never have been before, and how you find the fun. What do you do? Okay.
Yep.
So, number 1, the first thing you want to do when you get to a new location is find the local visitor center. It's there. You can just Google it or put it on your map, visitor center, and it'll tell you where to go. And those are great places to go get all the brochures, find all the info, ask any questions, tell them what you like to do, and they'll say, oh, you got to do this and this and this.
Yeah.
So the local visitor center.
And we hit some of those, like if when we're driving, we hit some of those welcome centers at the rest areas and the state lines, right? Is that
right?
Is that the
Those
same
are
thing?
like state visitor centers
on
a big scale.
Got
so
it.
those are great to stop at whenever you see the "Welcome to" sign. Generally, exit 1 or 2, you're going to get to the state welcome center.
And they got snack machines there, by the way.
Rest areas. Yeah.
Stop for those.
Big. Our favorite? What was our favorite
I think
welcome
it was Florida
center?
because they had like jet planes,
Yes.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Up on posts and stuff, real jets. It was really kind of cool. So,
And we had to buy our Florida Sun Pass.
Yeah.
Which is also an easy pass for toll roads all over
Which
the place.
has been good. That's super nice to have
Yep.
one pass. So you're right. We learned that there and used it all up the East Coast.
Yeah.
And
You
so
get them out of a vending machine at the welcome center.
You get your candy and you get your easy pass. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. So, visitor center. The second thing you can do online before you go is type in visit, put the name of the city, like Butte or Cody or Natchitoches.
Natchitoches. Oh.
.com. And generally that will get you to the CVB for the area, which is the Convention and Visitors Bureau. The visit is they use that a lot. So yeah, that's a great source of information online. Just everything about the area.
Or you could be like simple like me and just say Google things to do in Gulfport, Mississippi, right?
Example. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Example. Yes.
Exactly. For example.
Yeah.
Another online thing that you can do, and I really like this one, and
Yeah.
I'll put it in the show notes as a reminder. I post these on Facebook a lot too. There's a website called onlyinyourstate.com. And it's broken down into states, into cities, and they have a Facebook page. And it is so cool because they kind of consolidate all of the creepy, scary, historic, weird, just really interesting things about a particular location. I think last week I posted something about, or I shared something about the ghost. Oh, I should have looked it up.
Is it the ghost towns?
Ghost towns in New Mexico. It's like the scariest places.
That's right. Yeah.
And we're headed that way.
Yeah.
For the Albuquerque Balloon Festival.
She loves the ghost towns. She loves the trolleys. There's certain things that we're always looking for, and they're usually really fun. Like we were in. Yeah. I always mix it up. It's like Deadwood, and what's the other one?
Tombstone.
Tombstone. We were in Tombstone, and we did the trolley, and then we did ghost trolley at night. So talk about a combo there. That was really fun though.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean.
So that's a good one.
That reference, onlyinyourstate.com. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Because it's always really weird, interesting things.
Yep.
Okay. So number 3, ask at the campground. When you get there, when you're checking in, hey, what are the best things to do around here? They have brochures. They're local experts. They have people coming to them, bringing them coupons and discounts and all the info about the local area.
They're kind of like the camping concierge, you know?
They absolutely are. Or like a hotel.
We're going to get that
in
domain,
the lobby.
campingconcierge.com. We've got that one now. So
yeah. And that is actually how I found the Cody Cattle Company and the dinner and the Cody Night Rodeo.
That was so cool.
That's
how you found that?
Mm-hmm. They told me about it in the campground office.
That was the best.
While I was in registering and you were waiting.
I was reading my phone, waiting. I was doing important stuff. So what else?
Okay. Number 4, RV life. When I've talked about RV life before, Trip Wizard and campground reviews and all the information in one place. Well, when you're doing your research, you pop over into the review section on RV life. They give you other campers' reviews of the campground, but there's also a tips section. Not for money tips, but a tips and tricks, right?
Yeah.
And other campers will always mention the cool things to do and where to go eat and all the stuff that they found in that area near that campground. So that is a great resource for some really good tips from other RVers.
Okay, cool.
Okay, and number 5 is one of our favorites. What other source of information for really kind of cool things and places to camp in an area?
Places to camp that are cool. We'll take 500 for that on the board. That will be Harvest Hosts.
Harvest Hosts.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. You. We'll talk more about this in a minute, specific to Mississippi.
Yeah.
Our experience.
We've had some really cool Harvest Hosts that, and this happened here in Mississippi, which we'll dive into in a second. But there's some neat things that we got into that we had no idea we were going to do, right? It wasn't just a cool place to park the rig and stay the night or something. it created this whole new like experience. Some of our massive photo shots where we just take hundreds of photos. It's because we're at a cool Harvest Host.
Yes.
You know?
And Harvest Host is a membership organization. It is basically you pay one fee and then you have access to this magic map of thousands of these super unique locations, like breweries, like where they make beer and have really good food, like wineries, museums,
farms,
ranches, alpaca farms,
yeah,
or lavender farms. We've done a number of these experiences, and it's basically an overnight stay. So when you're on the road and you're just going through someplace, it's a one-night stay for free because you are a Harvest Host member. Also golf.
Yeah, we went to air museums and space museums and
crazy things. We went to Bo Duke's.
That's right. The Dukes of Hazzard, Bo Duke's.
His studio,
his
John
studios.
Schneider's Studios in Holden, Louisiana. Oh, that was our first trip to Louisiana 2 years ago.
That's on our website. That's not a cool article. But yeah, that's a cool place. He actually had like real spots with hookups too. It wasn't just like a place to park. And he shoots movies there.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It's so cool. So I'll include a link to that.
Okay.
And a Harvest Host in the show notes.
Okay.
But basically, it's just a really fun thing to do. And you stay overnight, whatever the accommodation is. And it's free, although they do encourage you to participate in whatever it is. If
buy
it's a
beer,
brewery.
Have dinner.
Yeah, enjoy dinner.
Buy a product. Yeah.
Wineries,
It's not required, though, right?
Farms. It's not required,
but
it
highly
is
recommended.
suggested because, as we found out, our first trip coming back across country, that was during COVID, and everything had been shut down. And the couple of Harvest Hosts that we stayed at, one was a lavender farm in Washington State, one was a alpaca ranch in Montana. And in both of those experiences, the people told us, the hosts, the owners of these places, told us that really it was the Harvest Host program that kept them alive.
Kept their doors open
during COVID when nobody else could come.
Yep.
But they had a self-contained spots away, wherever, and RVers, we showed up.
Yep, spent money.
Bought the stuff, ate the food.
Some of our coolest pictures were at these places.
Yeah, so Harvest Host is super cool.
All right, so how does this relate to work-life balance? We've talked about really cool things we've just done, but let's tie it back to why we're here. How does this connect?
Yes. Well, it is a chance to talk about our experiences with our kid in Mississippi, which is really cool. But it is important to balance work and life and fun and finding the fun. So we just wanted to share a little bit about this experience with you. For example, when we were in Biloxi with our kid, coastal Mississippi, my first stop was the Biloxi Visitor Center. Well, and then I took the train tour.
Of course you did.
They did not have a trolley, but they had a kickin' historic train tour.
A tram kind of thing. You said, I didn't get to go, but you said it's similar to the old school, like, Disney trams that picked you up in the parking lot and took you to the park? Was it one of
she
those?
pulled like two of those carts with a Jeep.
Oh, okay.
And the lady had been doing this for 29 years.
She knew her stories at that point.
Doing these tours. And she's a native.
Yeah.
But what was so fascinating about this tour was, Hurricane Katrina, which absolutely devastated the coastal Mississippi area in August of 2005. So 18 years later, you still see and feel the impact of that hurricane, Category 5 hurricane, on the people and on the coast. And it's just really interesting. and overwhelming. And a lot of places they have the water line painted on houses and bridges and incredible. So yeah, I'll put one of those in the show notes too.
Okay.
It was just a fascinating history, fascinating experience, and to hear people that lived through it and how it still impacts their lives. It's just incredible, really. So that was fun.
So
fun and sad too, but
the other stuff like we were trying to worry about is like we always talk about after work kind of adventures, right? And one of the things we got to do with our son was he was working all day,
Yeah.
we were working all day, but we made sure when we, he ended his classes and we ended up finishing our calls and stuff. We did a few fun things, not every night, but every other night almost.
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And one of those things was, of course, going out to get dinner. And, when you're on the coast, we decided we're going to hit as much seafood as possible. And so we toured quite a few of the different restaurants there, some of the fun ones. So they weren't all great, but they were all great to laugh and enjoy. We had a great time at every one of them.
We did.
The
We got
food
to try
was
a lot of different things.
Yeah, the food went up and down at some of these. Scuba Steve's, as I call it. It's not really called that, but that's what I call it.
Yeah.
Not great. Shaggy's, which was just cool to say. And they had live music, which is cool. Their food was a
Yeah.
little better, and there was
Yeah.
multiple of those.
They are very well known on the coast.
Yeah.
On coastal
They
Mississippi.
were pretty good.
It was good. We went 2 times.
We did. It was obviously good enough to go twice, right?
Yep.
But the home run was that Patio 44.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing.
In Gulfport.
Everything all of us got was amazing. And we got desserts and we got drinks and every single thing was amazing. So that one there was our favorite. But, it wasn't the same as like, casual Shaggy's on the beach kind of thing. But
No.
the food was the best.
It was waterfront. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And we ended up there after disc golf, so we were a little sweaty. And
We did look out of place there, didn't we?
We
We just
did. It
played
was
like
nice.
18
We're like,
plus.
we'll just go out to the patio, please.
We're all like sweaty in T-shirts and stuff, and we walk in and everybody's dressed up, and we're like, "Can we sit outside, please?" And they looked at us funny, but they sat us, and they
And
were
it was
very
cool.
nice.
It was
Yes.
cool and casual.
And the food was great,
Yep.
and everything was great.
Yeah.
So we just joked that we said, "Hey, we just finished golf." We didn't say disc golf, So we just finished golf.
No. So that's coming up.
Yeah.
So one of the things we did on the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
we had 2 weekends. We went to the Infinity Science Center, which is a brochure that we picked up at the visitor center. And that was interesting. That was with the NASA Stennis Space Center that is located right there, a little north of...
Right on I-10, right?
It is right off of I-10.
You can see
right
it there.
next to the Welcome Center, the
Yeah.
Louisiana Welcome Center.
It looks cool because when you're driving by, you see parts of the rockets and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So it looks cool.
Yeah.
We were like one of like 3 cars in the parking lot, though. So we thought it was closed. We're like, hey, maybe nobody's here. It's closed. No, it just wasn't doing a lot of business that day. We went, but
Well, our kid was interested, and
Yeah.
we were interested. He had gone... Russ and our son had gone to space camp back in the day in
and it
Huntsville.
was awesome. Go to space camp.
So this was kind of like, hey, they have all this space stuff. And hey, there's a guided tram tour. Hey, there's a bus tour to Stennis Space Center.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of that.
They canceled all of those cool things. They're like, yeah. And they said, like, that was like 10 years ago. We canceled. I'm like, 10 years ago?
I'm like, it's on the brochure.
You still have the brochure saying this.
But we did get to see rockets and the
videos.
ISS space capsule, the Destiny space
Yeah.
capsule.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
And some of the other things were
some of
a
the
little
things
dated,
worked.
a little
Yeah,
outdated.
It was a little, yeah. I mean, I guess it was still good. It was a disappointment because the 2 big things we want to do, they're like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. We don't take the tram out there to see stuff, which was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
We kind of counted on that
And
one.
we looked for alligators in their little possum walk trail, but
Yeah.
no, we didn't see
Nothing.
any alligators.
We actually spent more time, I think, in the gift shop buying T-shirts and stuff like that.
Which
so.
was really cool because it was actually a gift shop, a NASA gift shop
Yep.
for the Stennis Space Center. So it was a lot of fun.
It was.
I mean, the three of us,
saw
we
the-
had a great
The,
time.
the 3D tornado movie. You got to choose all these different movies. We
Yeah.
chose that one. That was actually good.
Yeah.
Again, a little dated, but it's good.
Yeah.
3D.
Yeah. So we had a good time.
Yeah. But okay, so we'll set that aside because we'll say, it's a mixed bag. I'd still put it in the plus side, even though it was a little bit
We
disappointing.
had to go.
Had to go. We didn't know. But disc golf. I mentioned that a second ago. So we had a
Oh, my goodness.
super fun time. So we actually, Sherry and I started playing disc golf long before we had kids. And it was awesome. We were dinks, right? Dual income, no kids, right?
We had a group of friends.
Yeah.
We were living in Florida, and we played a lot of disc golf and
Yeah.
also beach volleyball.
Yeah.
Competitive.
And we were good in both. But frisbee golf or disc golf is, a lot of people don't know about it, but it's a great game / sport. Depends on who you are. And it's got the similarities of golf, but the simplicity of frisbees, right? You don't have a whole bunch of clubs and a lot of you're throwing little discs and you're trying to get them into these baskets. And there's a big course. You get to walk, you get to talk with friends, you can bring snacks and drinks. And, it's a very fun, casual event that is low stress, usually hilarious.
Yes.
I made sure that was true because I
Yeah.
messed up so many times.
Yep.
But it was fun. We had a great, and our son had never played.
And you've probably seen disc golf courses or baskets
We
and
just
not
didn't
really
know.
know what it was because there's a lot in state parks
Yep.
and college campuses. We've seen a lot of RV campgrounds that
yep.
have disc golf courses. And basically, it's the chain baskets that
Yeah.
you see on occasion here and there.
Yeah, if you didn't know what it was, it does look strange. It's this like 5-foot basket with a bunch of chains, and you throw a disc into the chain so it grabs them. But it's really fun, and it's a low investment. You need one disc, but ideally you have a few just in case you throw one in the water.
Yeah.
And they have discs that are drivers and putters, things like that. They're different weights. But in general, when you're learning, none of that matters. It's a lot of fun.
We're actually carrying 6 discs from 30 years ago.
Yeah, and they played just
we
the
keep
same.
in our car.
Yeah,
'cause
we've been carrying them since
you know.
back then.
You never know when you're going to see some baskets,
Yeah,
play a little disc golf.
And so it was fun. We brought it up with our son because he actually played competitive ultimate frisbee.
Yes, he did since middle school, really.
Yeah, and he played in international competitions, right?
Over in Guam. He represented Guam
And went to
In
the
an-
competition in
France.
That's right.
and Thailand.
And that was sent on TV as well. Like they put
Yep.
it on online and everything.
Yep.
So yeah, so he's really talented in that. But I'll be honest, that requires a lot of skill. You got to be big time in shape. Lots
Yeah.
of running because that's basically like soccer
Yes.
or football from the rest of the world.
Yes.
But it's soccer with a frisbee. Very different than disc golf, which is like, we stand there and talk and laugh and somebody throws a disc, right?
Right.
That's very low pressure.
And also the frisbees that you use in disc golf are very different.
They are.
And our
Smaller,
son thought
heavier.
it would be the same.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
I
like,
can
"I
go
got
with the
this."
old people, no big deal. It's just ultimate frisbee. in a
Within the
basket.
first 3 holes, he's like, wow, this is different. And
Yeah, because the discs are different.
yeah.
They're weighted differently.
Now,
They're
we
smaller.
knew this, but he did not know this. And so we actually did pretty good, and he really enjoyed it. And so we ended up playing quite a bit over the 2 weeks he was here. And it was really fun. I know I
did.
enjoyed it because it was one of the few things I could still kind of keep up with him on this.
Yeah, and
But-
that we could all do together. That was
Yeah.
casual, outdoors, after work.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. And he, our son, really got into it. Because it started because there was a disc golf course on the Air Force Base.
Right.
And he was near the Air Force Base. So he ended up finding this app on the phone called UDisc, UDISC. And it's a great little app to locate disc golf courses near you. And then they have the layouts and the statistics and all this really geeky stuff about.
But it'll track.
Watch out for the alligator at hole 7.
But on every hole, it'll track your distance that you throw each time. And so it'll even mark the location on the map of where all the shots are. So if you're truly nerdy and want to know exactly how you played, it'll track every shot and tell your score and everything. And it's cool. It even made it possible for all of us to play together as a team across our phones.
All those stats.
So all of our phones, we all tracked it separately, but they were all tracked together as a team game. So it was really kind of cool.
Yeah, so he came back with the UDisc app, and then also we ended up at Academy Sports to buy discs and equipment.
Yeah.
And then he's going to get all the guys. Once we left, he's like, I'm going to get the guys. We're going to go play disc golf. Cool.
Yeah. And anybody can play it, right? It doesn't matter your skill level, your strength, anything. It's really cool. There's even, just like in normal golf, they have different tees for pros and men and women, and you have different handicaps if you want to, allow kids to play. Like, everyone can play the game, which is really, really fun.
Make up my own rules.
That's right. Sherry just decides, I'm playing from here. And I'm not playing from the woods.
I'm not going in the grass. I'm not going in the snakes. Can you get my disc for me, please?
And we had a great time. And then I figured out I have a new problem, which is like, the phrase is called grip lock. I didn't know that. It's like my hand, after the first game, after we played quite a bit, my hand was not let go of the disc, and I would end up throwing it sideways. So
yeah,
it was
pretty
embarrassing.
sad.
And our son loved recording that in slow-mo on video, so not good. But we all had a great time. Yeah.
It was so much fun, and just such the perfect thing for, 250-somethings and their 20-something kid, right?
Yeah.
So just so much fun.
And we went to like 5 different courses.
We did.
Which is crazy. And we went to twice. Did we go more than once to one of them? Or everyone was just once? I can't remember if I thought we hit one of them more than once. But
I think we talked about going back, but then we just
went
to
that's right, because we kept finding new ones. That's right.
A couple of the days on the weekends, we ended up playing 2 courses.
Yeah.
Like 18
9
plus
holes
9.
And 18, yeah.
Like
and that was in
27.
That tells you how fun it was. We just didn't want to stop.
It was
Anyways,
very fun.
we need to keep moving here.
Okay. All right.
But I do want to point out, this is similar to in the past we used to do geocaching. That's another fun
with
thing.
With our kids.
Yeah, because again, anybody can do that too. It's a very discovering and finding things using GPS.
Yeah.
We've done that in the past. This is, in my opinion, a little more fun because you get a little bit more walking involved. It's a sport kind of thing where you can be competitive if you want to, or you can just play Sherry's rules, which says, I'm playing this way.
Well, and now that our kids can drink beer and stuff,
that's right. You can walk around with drinks.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, and geocaching is actually still a thing.
It
very
is.
much.
Yeah.
With the National Geocaching Association. So that's definitely something to look up if you're looking for a fun kind of weird thing to do.
Yeah.
But fun.
We started that, and we have friends like Paul and David who took that when we showed them how to play, and they became superstars in that.
Yeah. They have thousands of geocaches.
Yeah, we're like rookies compared to them.
They found thousands of geocaches and made their own, and now they're like bigwigs in the National Geocaching Association.
We can't even hang out with them anymore.
Your parents
We're not
did
cool
that
enough.
too.
Yeah.
They went way far with it.
Paul and David will now bring you to disc golf so we can be at the same level again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fun.
And then, there was a lot going on also on the coast while we're there. There's this thing called Cruising the Coast that was advertised everywhere for miles up and down the coast, right?
Yes. It's an annual event of classic cars and just all kinds of events. The RVs and the trailers and the classic cars were rolling in. It actually didn't start until Sunday, and we left on Sunday.
Yeah.
But
it was packed already.
Kicked out of our campground on the Saturday because they're like, "Oh no, we got Cruising the Coast coming in. You guys got to go."
But that turned out to be
we wanted to stay one more night.
But because we got kicked out, that turned out to be a crap opportunity.
That was the Harvest Host.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we were trying to stay one more night, but if we had, we wouldn't have stumbled into this really cool harvest host.
No, we almost stayed on the Navy base with
That was our backup plan.
On the RV park. We talked about that last
Right. What I'm saying is,
but that was too complicated.
Both that and the harvest host were both because we were having to leave.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So, yes.
Sorry.
Yes. And so because we had to leave, if we didn't have to leave, neither of those other options would have been there.
And that would have been sad.
Yeah. But because it turned out not even better than our plan to go on base was this harvest host. And you located this. And it was really cool. So,
yep. I just checked the app, checked the map, and we found the Cozy Rosie Glamp Ground and the Shed Barbecue and Blues Joint. And this is a harvest host location. And it is just out of this world in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And the Cozy Rosie is a campground, a regular campground. But they have 4 spaces on this little loop on the bayou.
Yeah.
And, it's available for harvest host. So you can stay there for one night for free. But then, of course, we went into the gift shop because the Cozy Rosie's just cool. It's an old story. And our kid got a couple T-shirts, one for his wife. And
yeah, they had mugs.
So we spent the money in the
magnets.
gift shop. And then also that night, our last night, we went to dinner at the Shed Barbecue and Blues Joint in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And it was so cool.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eclectic is how they describe it. It just kind of like a bunch of...
The buildings look like they're all just leaning on each other, Like if you push one, the whole thing's coming down like a house of cards. I'm sure it's not, but it does look like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. And lights and outdoor lights.
Stage.
Sand.
The kids area way far away from us, which was great. So the
Yeah.
kids had a great time, and
Yeah.
the music was somewhere else. It was great. It's huge, though. The place is huge.
And the food was awesome.
It was awesome. Highly recommend the
Just
ribs, though.
Laid back,
Awesome.
casual,
Yep.
fun. So, yeah, that was for the win.
And to get there was kind of cool because we were going to we had to move, like we said, we had to move out of the RV park because of cruising at the coast. So it gave us a chance to let our son do one of these RV moves. It wasn't very far. It was like an hour, right?
He hadn't been he'd been in it, but he hadn't traveled.
Yeah.
Or in the RV.
Yeah. So he got to help us move the rig. Now, we didn't connect the car this time because it was only 1 hour. So you drove the Jeep separately, and then he and I drove the RV, which is cool. So he got to experience. We even let him drive it a little bit at the very beginning. But it was a lot of fun. He and I got to chat the whole time and got to experience the challenges of navigating the rig down the road with everyone getting in your way and everything.
He got to see our perspective from that big old windshield.
Yeah. Yeah, he was even trying to say, hey, we should record the kind of conversations we're having over the radios for the podcast. And I was like, that's a really good idea. So.
Oh, and he recorded in the podcast studio.
We let him.
Privacy, we're not going
to. We dropped him into the studio and let him play. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's just for us.
While we were down there, we moved the rig Saturday morning.
Yep.
And then when we got to Ocean Springs, which was about an hour, I said south, but it's actually east.
Okay.
Anyway, we went to another experience that I found out about at the visitor center.
It was awesome. It was the Gator Ranch with the airboats.
Gulf Coast Gator Ranch and Airboat Swamp Tour. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody knows it's going to be cool just from the name.
And we had not, but so unexpected when we actually got there.
Yeah, it was way better than we expected. Right? I mean, you hear airboat, that's cool. You hear gators, that's cool. But it was even better than that.
Well, and I'd point out that everywhere we were down in Mississippi, it was like, watch out for gators.
Yeah.
Don't feed the gators. Gators here.
Never
saw a gator.
No.
So we were going to this thing going, okay, we're going to see it.
Rubberized gators floating around.
We saw alligators.
There were 120 gators or something. And they were huge.
Yes. And we got to feed them. And it was literally a feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just amazing.
Yeah, watching you throw that chunk of food over and then they go after it. And it is like, dude, you can't imagine if you were in there. It's like, wow, it's a power.
And again, that was just the walk out to the dock to get on the
that wasn't even the
airboat.
ride or anything. Yeah, that was just like, hey, while you're waiting, it was amazing. If that had been the whole thing, it was worth the money.
The gator ranch.
It was so cool.
And they had the baby gators and it was very cool. But also at the Gulf Coast Gator Ranch, they had a Katrina water line. They're like almost 5 miles from the coast. I mean, they're back in the bayou.
Yeah.
And the water was so high that it went up to the
second floor.
Yeah, to the second floor of the building there.
Which is higher than what?
Higher than the fences on either side of the boardwalk that you go down between the alligator swamps.
So what happened back then?
The alligators all got out.
They all got out.
All of them, hundreds of alligators.
Huge
alligators.
They only got like 20 back out of the 120 or something.
Right. I'm like, what happened to them? He's like, they all went out.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah. And when you see these gators, you're like, oh my goodness, I can't imagine. Oh.
That is the picture that I will put in the,
You'll put that one.
in the show notes.
I like it.
Just those water lines. You at the thought of alligators floating around there.
So we did the airboat ride. We got to see, they fed some gators out there, and those out there were free, right? They were
free range.
Free range.
But apparently they kind of hang out in the same
like
places
marshmallows.
because they know that the food's coming. And they feed them marshmallows on the swamp boat tour. Mm-hmm. They used to feed them raw chicken, which is what they feed them at the ranch.
Yep.
But then a gator actually, jumped onto the front of an airboat with guests in the boat because they had raw chicken on the front.
So they quit bringing chicken. So chicken gets them super excited, and they'll come join the airport. So they don't bring chicken anymore.
That's what brings gators to the
yard. Yeah. So marshmallows, they can throw it away, and it floats, and the gators will chase it. And they are territorial, so apparently the same ones stay in the same areas out there, or they're all robotics. I'm not quite sure.
Right. Hey, Hank.
That's right.
How's it going?
Push the button, make Hank do something. And then, so we did that. It was really fun, and it was kind of hot. We finished the airboat ride and bought some trinkets there.
And we had some time.
We had a little time. So what did we do with our free time that day?
We went for our final round of disc golf.
Yeah, the championships.
Actually, 2 different courses.
We did a speed round at the end of the last one because it was getting dark. That's how much fun it was. We were like, no. Normally we're like, it's getting dark. Let's leave. We're like, heck no. I got to make these last 3 holes. Let's do it. So,
yeah. Trying to light up the iPhone so you can see where your disc is landing. And it was kind of crazy. Yeah. And then after all of that big day, we went to dinner at the Shed Barbecue and Blues joint. It was so much fun.
It was great. So this has been an interesting podcast for me. It's been really fun to kind of relive and remember these pieces. But if I had to kind of bring it back to the top 3 things, it's how it relates to work-life balance. Mm-hmm. Keep me honest here. Here's how I'd kind of do this. I'll start with, I think it's finding the fun and still getting the work done. Not trying to rhyme, but
right.
It is always the point of this is like we're doing the work to pay for our ability to go see our son and see our kids and friends and family and have fun as we cross this great country. Yeah. Right. And so that's like one of the top 3 things. Yep. What was the second thing?
Well, the second thing was being in Mississippi with our son and how cool it is that we could be there. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm getting
Don't cry.
That we could be there with him for 2 weeks. He's been in the Navy. He's been away for 10 years. Yeah. And he's gotten to come back. He's come back and we visited and we met him down in San Francisco and all that. But man, just the chance to just hang out and be there whenever he had time. Yeah. And it was so much fun.
Because we said it before, like we get to live while we're there for two weeks. It's not like we're sitting in a hotel room waiting for him to finish his stuff. We lived down here while he was here. And so it was great. He would come over afterwards. Mm-hmm. We'd have dinner together. Sometimes we'd watch a show. Sometimes we'd go play disc golf, But it was great. We were living here. And so there was certain nights when he was too tired and couldn't come over.
Or
no big deal.
Late night classes.
Yeah. So it was great. I guess the third thing would be kind of related to Katrina and all the stuff that's down here is, a lot of the thing is there's a lot of job opportunities to live this life, to have this balance and travel and stuff. And there's a lot of remote work possible everywhere we go. I mean, obviously we've met a lot of people doing this. But one of the things that got us thinking when we came down here is you kept talking about the water lines and Katrina, and there was such an impact on this area. Things like insurance jobs, right?
Yep.
And obviously this is just using that timeline back then to kind of remind us of these roles, but there's lots of those jobs. And that
still out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It just constantly surprises us that there are so many ways to do what we're doing. Maintain a full-time job and live, work, and play remote in your motorhome.
Yeah. And so we were looking at remote insurance jobs kind of thing, just kind of looking at that category since we're here.
One of the big categories.
And there was in the U.S. right now, there's over 3,100 remote insurance jobs. And that's amazing to know that there's a lot of opportunities. So if the people that have a background in that.
And that's everything from customer service to sales to insurance adjusters that come out after natural disasters and storms and stuff. There are analysts. We have a friend down in California, Paul.
That's right.
Who works for an insurance company.
And it's not just for, when a disaster happens. These are jobs that are, every day, 24/7. These are full-time jobs where you make a very good salary and you have benefits and all the things you would get from a what we call a traditional job. These are remote jobs
that
and you can travel
do on the road.
Yeah. And so we'll kind of share some of those in the show notes. So if you get a chance and want to know more about that, check out the show notes of this show here. We'll include links to find out more about that and how you can sign up on our website to get updates about those kind of roles and others that we'll be exploring over the next podcast.
Because that's another frequently asked question that we see all over the place. It's like, well, how can you do this? How can I do this?
Yeah.
You can work on the road? Yes, you can. So many opportunities. And so our goal with RV Work-Life Balance podcast is to share what we're learning and help anyone interested in this crazy adventure of life and work on the road.
Yeah, and I want to thank all the listeners that have been listening on this podcast. If you've made it this far, great job. Good job.
Yay.
And check out the show notes. There's links and products in there I think you'll find interesting. And if you're new, please subscribe. There's a lot of more content that'll be coming out, and we don't want you to miss anything. We really want to thank you.
To our existing subscribers, both on the podcast apps and on the website, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of our adventure on the road. Please be in touch by email or Facebook. That contact information will be in those show notes. And the most important thing for all of us is to make your escape. Get out here.
Yeah. So are you ready to?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Bye.